Are you connected? Now, when we talk about networks, that may seem an easy word to talk to about being connected and being connected to others, whether that's family or friends. But what I'm talking about today, as far as are you connected, is are you connected to Source, that higher being, that God, that universe, that thing that is bigger than you? Are you connected? And how do you know? Right? So today we're going to be talking about some ways that you can be connected to Source on a much bigger level. Hey Stacy, thanks for joining me. One of the things we're looking at in terms of being connected is what are your practices that you're doing to stay connected? And why is this important? You know, Monday morning we tend to jump into our schedules and do the things that we are here to do, but we have to step back and not just what we are here to do, but the practice of being and how we are doing that, right? Because when we're running around doing all the things that we're doing and we're not incorporating being into our life, then we have to look at why are we doing all the things that we're doing, and are we able to take those breaths in between to even be able to gauge if it's working for us. If we don't step back and be able to see how we're connected to Source, to be able to ask our higher self how we're doing, and to ask for that wisdom to be whispered to us so that we can key in to being supported, then we can maybe be lost, or we could be going down a path that doesn't necessarily support us and maybe is not in alignment with our higher vision. Now, this is something that I'm continually learning myself as well, because you guys know I like to be on the fly, I like to be doing a lot of things. However, I have to have this reminder for myself as well, is to have that practice of being, that sense of being present and having the open space that will support you in everything that you're doing. So the practice of being is having that open space. So if you have a calendar that has something on every hour on the hour, you are not practicing the being present to give yourself those breaths in between. That's when we can start feeling overwhelmed, and a lot seems to maybe not be working because we're not giving ourselves those breaths in between. I mean, even in music, there's rests in between the notes. We need to have that as a practice in our life as well. So I would love to have you, as one of the practices is to be able to use your calendar to be more spiritual and to be connected to Source. And you do that by creating more white space in your day. So, hey Care, thanks for joining me here. So when you open up your calendar and have gaps in between, that allows yourself to have the deep breaths, it allows yourself to be present, and it doesn't have you have that sense of rushing from one thing to another. Even if you've got appointments every hour on the hour, try considering changing them to 45 minutes, to even giving yourself 10 to 15 minutes to have a deep breath, to really get present, and then to have that transition into the next thing. And you can actually ask your being and your Source and your God, what is it the next best thing for me to be doing? So I like using the quote to take the next step, no more, no less, and the next step will be revealed. That's one of my favorites from Clement Watt. Well, taking that first step, you know, allows you, when having space, to take the breath, to be present, and to really see what is truly the best next step for you. Because just because it's on your calendar, you still want to ask how you want to approach it. Not just the doingness of it, but the beingness of it. And sometimes we need to slow down in order to speed up, right? And I know sometimes that can sound very counterintuitive, that, and I get trapped in this too, you guys, where I'm just running from one thing to the next thing and keep moving, right? I mean, how many of you guys, send me some thumbs up if you can relate to just running from one thing to the other and feeling the sense that you can't catch a breath, you know, right? I totally get this. So sometimes just being able to slow down, giving yourself some more space on your calendar, giving yourself more breaths during the day can allow you then to speed up down the road more, because you gave yourself that time to really evaluate what was the next best thing for you and to just energetically be able to step into being more productive, right? So another thing you can do is to step out into nature. So I'm really doing a lot more of my talks with you out in nature because I feel more grounded, I feel more connected to you, I feel more connected to the nature, and I feel like I can actually hear more of my inner wisdom when I'm outside. So a way of practicing being more connected to source is to be outside in nature. And you guys, we can all do this. Even in our busiest days, we can set our alarm for 5-10 minutes and just walk outside. I tend to walk out in my backyard, walk around my pool, and I can see things from a different perspective. You know, it's that concept I talk about, the walk and talks, when you're in movement, that you can actually hear things on a deeper level, you can be more present, and you can make better decisions when you allow yourself more space. So the other thing you can be doing is some self-care. So, you know, I made a point of getting in bed. I went to the gym earlier this morning, met my friend Barb, and I got up. You know, I had myself full amount of sleep, so I went to bed earlier, and that was part of my self-care, was to get enough rest so that I could be present for you guys here today, for my clients, for being at the gym, and really leading by example. So what are you guys doing to lead by example for people in your life to really support not only yourself in your own self-care, but to encourage others to do that as well? Because when we all take care of ourselves, we have so much more to give, and that is part of that being connected to source. So that when we are taking care of ourselves, we can be more present, we can hear the things that really support us on a much deeper level. So I want to kind of go back around here and review, and if you know, sometimes it's just stepping outside of your life to really be able to relook at your calendar, relook at your priorities, look at your values, and see how you can incorporate being more connected to source in your daily life. Now, I support people in doing this with my retreats. So if that's something that you know it's time for you to step out of your life and to look at going to a retreat, to look at how you can restructure your life, give yourself that space, that enjoyment to really look at, are you living on purpose? Are you living with more joy? Are you really stepping into that spa life where you have that accomplishment and harmony happening together? So if you or someone you know would love to be part of my next SpaLife Retreat, just put in the comments below, invite me. And I'd love to have a conversation with you and get you more details to do that. And regardless of whether or not that's your calling for you to come to a retreat with me, I just invite you to really make it a priority to be more connected to source. So I shared with you several of those things that would help you do more of that today. And let me just recap those for you. So the practice of being, having more open space, right? That will help you definitely. Using your calendar to have more spirituality and in connection to source on your calendar by creating that white space and actually putting in your calendar. I just talked to one of my clients about this earlier this week, where she had so many different things on her calendar. She didn't have any time for herself, which meant she couldn't connect to source and she couldn't be more present to see what it was that really supported her. So actually putting blocks on your calendar that have something that says even just me time, right? And just having that on your calendar, that way you won't be putting in clients, you won't be scheduling other things, and you're making your appointment, your divine appointment with yourself and your source on your calendar, so it becomes a priority. Because if it's not on your calendar, it tends to not happen and it just gets pushed aside. So really utilize that calendar to be connected to yourself and to source. The other thing is slow down in order to speed up. Slow down, give yourself those extra moments to take those deep breaths, right? Just the oxygen to the brain really helps you be more focused. So slowing down, really asking yourself, okay, what is the next best step for me? And even if you have things on your calendar set, the way you go about doing them can make a big difference besides just doing them. So slowing down and really evaluating how that can support you can make a really big difference as you're moving forward through your day. All right, and then getting out in nature. Nature is something also keeps you grounded. I've talked before about taking your shoes off and being, having that bare feet and walking out and being connected to the ground. That can just reorientate you so that you can be more present and have more energy throughout your day. And the final thing is that self-care, where you're getting more sleep and drinking more water. I mean, we're having hot summer days. Make a point of drinking more water. giving yourself those rests, pace yourself and be able to support yourself with that self-care so that you can be more present, not only for yourself and for others. So I felt like I'd love for you guys to comment and see what ways are you doing that. I shared earlier that I spent, part of the weekend away with my family, laying by the pool and connecting with my grandkids and swimming and just doing some fun summer connecting. And believe me, you guys, I had part of my head chirping away about, finishing one more project and maybe making another phone call and having those things happen. But when we're intentional and we slow down and we allow ourselves to have that space, I actually feel more energized today. I feel like I'm going to get more done today because I allowed myself to have a weekend where I disconnected and I was able to be more present to the people around me. So you can do it. I really encourage you to really stay connected with yourself, with Source, to slow down, to take care of yourself, and practice being, right? We have this drive because there's so many things that we want to do in life to just really push through things. And trust me, by taking just a few extra moments, it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be 3 to 5 minutes of just taking that deep breath, really being present. That can make the difference in how you experience your day, because really that's what's important. It's not about all the things that we get done. Yes, you guys know I love to be organized. I love to check things off my list, and I love that happening. But we also have to look at how does that impact the experience of our life, right? And those are things that you can really only truly understand by being connected to your source, having the self-care, and being present to say, why am I doing all the things that I'm doing, right? It's really important to take that time to really be clear about why we do the things we do, what kind of impact that we want to have, and live from that passionate place, because you got to put that oxygen mask on yourself first. You got to take care of yourself in order for you to have the energy to do all the things that you are here to do. So with that, you guys, I'd love for you to put your comments in, invite me if you'd like to come to my next retreat. I'm going to put the connection here for my guide so that you guys can read that to support more in how you can incorporate SpaLife more into your life. And I just want you guys to really take some deep breaths today and really be grateful for this day. Connect with the people, smile to the people you come in contact with, because you are making that big impact in their life, because that's what we're here to do, to design our life, not live by default, and to really embrace our bigger reasons on why we're here. So with that, live your spa life, and bye for now.